Hello and welcome to Integrated Spectrum of Health Functional Medicine membership. My name is Lynn Jocelyn. I weave together my 23 plus years in conventional practice as a physician assistant, my advanced training and work in functional medicine, and my love of my food and spirit practitioner certification. So today we are going to continue our conversation, if you've been following the series on color and how color can transform your health. So we're talking a lot about color and the human body, the intersection of healing, and could this be something that will support you in adding joy, in adding shifting, supporting your autonomic nervous system through color and frequency. So let's keep going. Today we're going to talk about the flow. And before I get into that, the question I ask often is, can color help us heal? I believe yes, and there's a lot of reasons. Here's just some examples. Art therapy and visual arts are very important in a person's life journey and healing. They bring joy, they bring creativity, and add an element of healing through the senses. Healing properties of colorful foods. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through, but there's something called phytochemicals that actually make up the pigment or the color of certain fruits and vegetables. And there have been links to certain phytochemicals having biochemical play or acting as cofactors for really important biochemical processes in our body. So there's a powerful way that color can help us heal. There's healing power in emotions. We often connect color and emotions together. So using color in association with emotions can help bring texture and context and movement through those emotions. Really, emotions are emotions, so emotions in motion. Tuning into the beauty displayed with color increases our joy. Honestly, joy is anti-inflammatory, and color is anti-inflammatory through all these ways and supports cellular healing. So the color of foods, let's just take a quick peek at those. These are just some big overview topics of certain colors, pigments of fruits and vegetables that support certain bodily systems. Red has been associated with immune system support, orange with reproductive health, yellow with digestion, green with cardiovascular health, blue-green with thyroid health, and blue-purple with cognition and brain health. So this is the meat of what I study under Dr. Deanna Minich and her Food and Spirit program. She created this beautiful healing modality and a way to use color intersecting with anatomy, physiology, core principles of certain things and experiences we have through life. In this chart, she goes through what a balanced lifestyle looks like in each of these systems, and then the foods. So this is just a big, broad overview. And each presentation, I am walking you through one of these systems. So today, we're going to talk all about the flow. So the flow is all things orange. The color orange stimulates our creativity. As we talked about above, sometimes it has been associated with orange foods supporting our reproductive organs and systems, and then creativity, fertility, both in reproductive fertility as well as the birth of new ideas as we move through life, and partnerships and emotion. So emotion, creativity, and relationship. Here's a picture that kind of encapsulates all of it. We've got our creativity. Look at those beautiful orange foods. Fats and oils are also really important in the flow system of health, play, movement, and relationship. So this is a quote that I love. It came from Dr. Deanna's book, The Rainbow Diet. And I really do, I'm going to read it because I think it really epitomizes the flow system of health. So Our ability to go with the flow of our environment resides within the appropriately named flow system. In addition to our flow, representing our flexibility, it holds the sheer pleasure for living and everything that life contains. So sheer pleasure. It's quite simply the fun factor. Without it, we become serious, withered, and desiccated. The flow system is represented by water in our bodies and symbolizes the flux we may experience in our emotional selves. It contains all the materials for creation, like a cosmic dance teeming with chaotic and frenzied emotion, raw reactivity, and undulating sensuality. Our flow enables us to surrender, to choose, and dive into a state of pure creativity. So let's break it down just a bit more. So the foods associated with the flow system of health, we think of high quality fats that are found in fish and seafood, nuts and seeds, fermented foods, really help the large colon, and that is one of the organ systems important to the flow. Tropical foods, water, very important. Hydration. If you think about flow, we want to be able to be flexible, to be malleable and lubricated, and water and hydration really helps with that. Orange-colored foods. So some ideas are salmon, almonds, walnuts, hemp seeds, mango, sweet potato, oranges, sauerkraut, and papaya. Flow with the physical body. The anatomy and physiology of the flow system of health really encompass everything in our lower pelvis. So bladder, ovaries, testes, hips, kidneys, large intestine. So if people are underactive in flow, they may exhibit constipation. Our reproductive system. If there is issues or concerns with fertility, sometimes supporting this flow system of health can really help turn that around. And sacrum. The flow core principles: creativity, relationships, and emotion. So goes with the flow. This is somebody who's balanced in the flow system of health. It really goes with the flow, is flexible, cultivates healthy partnerships. They're very creative and have a healthy sexuality. Flow affirmations. So one of the things of the 7 systems of health that I really like to tap into is what are simple ways that we can bring things into our day-to-day that will help support those systems that may perhaps be out of balance. And so these are the flow affirmations. An affirmation is something that you say in the affirmative, in the present, that like it's already happening, even if it's an area that you're struggling with. So some flow affirmations are: I flow freely and fluidly in every moment. I am highly creative in my actions and thoughts. I am open to the fullest, healthiest emotional expression. My relationships embody the flow of giving and receiving. So these are just some ideas. You can certainly come up with some of your own. So saying them out loud has a big impact to our body and our cells and our thoughts. But you can also write these on Post-it notes, have something pop up on your computer or phone to remind you to say these affirmations. So flow creativity. Sometimes, and especially people who may have underactive flow, we get into ruts where you're in autopilot. You drive to work, you don't even know how you got there. You get to work, you go through this, go through that, and you're not even sure maybe what you did by the end of your day because it's autopilot. Adding creativity in here can help shake things up and help us move into more flexibility and fluidity during our daily grind. So the invitation is, where can you add creativity and to your day? So 3 creative resets to get started. I'm just going to offer here to you. You can get up and start your day with headphones in or music on your speakers and dance for 1 song a day. You can have this past week at Group Visit, we did something called Zen Tangles, and they're little doodles. I'll show you them at the end of this presentation. But you can have a little set at your desk and doodle, or bring some colored pens or markers and take a 10-minute creativity break. And then the other thing to get the flow system of health and the creativity going is movement, and movement through the hips. So think about hula hooping. That would be moving your hips, that would be playful, and that would be creative. So now I'm going to take you through what it looks like to be overactive in the flow system, underactive, and then balanced. And if you've been following along with our, I'm just going to move this up. If you've been following along with our presentations, oops, I guess my picture's not going to move. If you've been following along with our presentations, then you had an opportunity to take the whole spectrum quiz. And if you're curious and you haven't taken that quiz to find out where you may be imbalanced and you want to walk through these systems with us, reach out to me and I'll get that to you. So let's talk about the overactive flow. We're going to talk about foods, eating, body, and personality. So foods high in fat. If somebody's overactive, they may really crave foods high in fat, and they may crave over-processed high-fat foods. Constant water drinker, they prefer salty foods, and are drawn to foods that are pleasing to the senses. Eating, maybe an emotional eater, easily crave to food cravings, have guilt and shame around food, control issues with maybe somebody telling them how they should eat, and they really hold on to their thoughts around eating. Body, excessive fat relative to muscle, overactive reproductive challenges such as uterine fibroids, frequent UTIs, irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, increased libido, and excessive sweating. Personality, an overactive flow system of health. The person may be highly expressive, highly emotionally reactive, so they can either be quick to react with strong emotions or cry easily. Always has new ideas, may be in a codependent relationship, heightened senses, and life is full of drama. Underactive flow system of health. In the foods, they avoid fats, forgets to drink water, go through the whole day and think, oh my gosh, I haven't drank anything. If you think of that initial quote that I read from Dr. Deanna's book, she talks about without flow, we're dry and desiccated. So you need that water. Strong dislike for fish, does not eat seeds or nuts, chooses prepared foods over making their own. In the eating category, eats when they don't feel safe to express their emotions. So instead of being able to express healthy emotions, they'll eat and stuff that down. Feels inhibited when eating with others. Emotion over or under eating. Basically, it can go either way. If emotions can either cause them to want to overeat or to undereat. And they don't really find eating is as pleasurable. So the underactive flow has body is essential fatty acid deficiency potentially, flaky skin, brittle hair, tend towards dehydration, low hormone levels, hard to sweat, constipated, and a decreased libido. Personality, not very expressive, frequently feels numbed out, uncomfortable with emotions, tends to avoid relationships, has a fear of intimacy, hard to ascertain really how they feel, and they feel themselves not creative, and they feel that life's just boring. So to be balanced, eating foods balanced in the quality of fats, a good omega-3 to 6 ratio, eats a variety of fats, and minimal processed food intake with an average water intake. Eating, they're able to distinguish between that emotional trigger to eat and the physical sign of hunger. They have some minor food cravings, but don't easily give in to those. Healthy curiosity and creativity in the kitchen, and are open and curious about new ways of eating. Normal body composition, so fat and muscle are pretty balanced. For women, we talk about a healthy reproductive tract, pretty regular normal menstrual cycles, healthy urination, balanced hormones, and a regular bowel schedule. Personality, really balanced with the emotion. Sure, they're definitely able to express and have strong emotions, but without that quick reactivity. And they balance this with logic and reason. Makes time for this emotional release, creative, yet not constantly having ideas and spinning out into that overly expressive where they can't harness and bring in the completion of that idea. I love this last part. Idea generation and implementation are in harmony. So you have those periods of brilliant ideas popping off, and then you're able to bring it in and implement and put closure. So we did this recently at Group Visit, and I wanted to share a bit about one of the ways you can tap into creativity and to your flow system of health is to create Zentangles. Zentangles, and I'm going to kind of walk you through what these are, but really they're doodles. And I like to do them in color because I love color. But traditionally, they were made through this process, and you can go to zentangle.com and learn about where this came about. But traditionally, it was with graphite on this special paper. So I'm going to walk you through what that is about. So you get a small little square, and the Zentangle, if you're doing the traditional approach, it does have a certain type of paper they recommend. I just cut little squares and begin playing with colors. I love this step one, creating an intention, gratitude, and appreciation for this time. It can take 10 minutes, it can take 5, you can go 30 or 40 minutes with this. But setting an intention to this process, to this piece of paper, to this art, to this creativity will bring it more into your body and into your cells. Step 2, you put a dot in each of the corners of the square, and then you connect those dots. You can do straight lines, squiggly lines, zigzag lines, anything really. And then you do step 4 inside the border. So you created those dots, then you created your border. Inside the border, you make lines or squigglies that are called a string. So it separates certain sections of that square. Then you begin to tangle. And I love how they say here, just as you dance, you tangle your tangles. So your intention's set. You're allowing yourself to be in this space, and you dance with this little square of paper with the strokes, focusing on the stroke of the pen, focusing on the color and the freedom, and before you know it, you have this beautiful tile. You can add shade, especially if you're doing the grays and the graphites, and otherwise color things in with the color, and then initial and sign. So if you were going to put together something to carry around with you, if you're working on your flow system of health, you could create a beautiful Zentangle in the honor of the flow system of health. And on the back of it, you could write your affirmation. You could have that up on your desk and be reminded of your flow affirmation. So just a reminder, we're going through, in these presentations, we're going through the 7 systems of health, root, flow, fire, love, truth, insight, and spirit. In each of these, we'll talk about food, emotions, thoughts, movement, affirmations, visualizations, and meditations. Each of these systems have something aligned, and then each of these systems, for instance, root is more about food. Flow is more about emotion. Fire, thoughts. Even though in each of the 7 systems, we go through each of these. So it's a really beautifully layered and tangled system, the 7 systems of health created by Dr. Deanna Minich. If you're curious and have questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here together, and I look forward to seeing you at our next presentation.